welcome to the Post-Human Podcast.
Welcome to the Post-Human Podcast again, folks. Today's guest, author of, and this is where I have a running trend of fucking up words, so let's try and pronounce this book. Panopticon. Yep, okay, cool. So, today we have the author of Panopticon and a music producer, Lucky Wilder.
What's up, guys, folks? My name is Lucky Wilder. I just started writing this. I've been writing for a while, but I just published my first novella. It's a sci-fi horror stoner. I don't even know what the hell, but I just published that, put that up on Amazon. I put it up on 420 too, which was pretty fun. I've just been making music. I got maybe an EP coming out. I've got a sequel to Panopticon coming out too. That's all the self-promoting you'll hear from me probably till the end. So
well, normally I'll get my guests to do a little promotion at the start and then at the end, just because then even if they don't listen to the full show, at least they can fucking find you at the start.
And if you want updates on any of my stuff, hit me up on Twitter, Lucky the Fool. That's LuckyThefool. That's me.
Perfect. I'm glad you sent me your book, because now I'm going to have to put this out there that unfortunately last night I should have read it, but I had a show, and I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan, and he had Quentin Tarantino on. So I found out just before my show. I was like, fuck. I was like, this is going to be amazing. So just before my show, I listened to an hour. Then I did my show, and then first thing when I got up this morning, I was like, oh shit. I literally scrambled to my phone, which was off. And then I left my charger in my studio, so I was running around like a madman. So I've only just about 50 pages into your book. If it wasn't for Quentin Tarantino, I'd have read the whole fucking lot. So it's your fault, Quentin.
Yeah, no, if I ever see him, Quentin, just avoid me. If you ever see me, just walk the other way, man. I take that personally.
It's a very good read so far.
Thanks, man. 50 pages. Okay, so let's see. Where are you? Have you made it to the reptilians yet?
Not yet. I might be exaggerating 50. It's around there.
That's pretty good though. Yeah, it's almost half. It's a really short read. If anyone just likes, like really, really short reads, it's not. I don't know if it's an easy read, but it's a short one.
For me, it's an easy read, very easy read. You even to the first couple of pages, you have a very good way with words. You craft your sentences beautifully. Very beautifully. I love reading. And sometimes I had a weird moment years ago where I'd get into some like fan fiction, and then I was like, this is bullshit. Bye. Tossed it all in the bin. So sometimes I'm a bit reluctant when people send me stuff, but it's amazing. It will be finished, believe you me.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, you're like an intense reader, right? Like I've heard in some of the episodes you say like you read a lot.
Read a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. I started writing, and I tell every writer, like, if you don't know what to do, just read more. Like, that's the start. But I'm such a slow reader, man. Like, I think I've read, we're almost halfway, right? We're past halfway through the year, and I think I've only read 4 books, and they were all pretty short. But yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been reading anything else other than, whatever?
Well, I'm a huge Kubrick fan, but I'd never read 2001 the book, because when I was a kid, it was a free book as well. Like, you'd go on to sign up for things back in the day, and you'd get all these classics, but you'd be like, I'm not going to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm not going to read Jungle Book or all the bullshit ones that they give you. And 2001 was one of those that was for free years ago. And although I liked the film, I was like, I can't really read a sci-fi book. It was tricky. So that was a recent read last week, and then I read that, and then read 2010, like the following day. So
2010, is that like a sequel to it, or...
yeah. There's three. There's 2001, 2010, and then 2061. And I'm literally just about starting 2061 now, but the shitty PDF that I've got is pretty terrible, and the font is like size 8, and on a phone you're like, there's a lot of words on one page. Let's put it that way. And
dude, even with like an iPad, I have that shit like right next to my eyes. Like,
what was the last book you read?
last book I read was The Hobbit. I never read it.
Ooh.
I just watched the movies. I'd watched Lord of the Rings a bunch of times, but I just had never taken the time to read any of Tolkien's books. And I gotta say, I think that guy will make it. I think that his career is about to explode because this stuff's pretty good. Kidding. Totally joking. No, that was fun. That was a good read. And right before that, I read The Shining. Kubrick, like. And shit, I read A Clockwork Orange right before that, so I guess I am on a little bit of a Kubrick run too. I should go for 2001.
How did you find I haven't ever spoke to anyone about the Clockwork Orange book. How did you find that as a read? Because half of the words are in a language that was kind of like Cockney Russian slang called Nadsat, and most of the book is written in that sort of format. And it's very tricky. Even they've got a dictionary at the front of it, so you can sort of know what the words are. But even then, you're like, oh, this was Moloko or whatever, and you just go back and forth and back and forth. It's very tricky read.
I actually kind of love that, but I took it as like this dude's just like Tolkien or like Frank Herbert, and he's just making up his own language, and that's fine, Like I was just like, I'm just gonna buy into it, and I'm gonna try to piece it together.
I think it's a real kind of language. I don't think it's even made up.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm glad you mentioned it. What was it? How do you spell it?
Nadsat, I think. I'm pulling this out of my head from when I read it. And I read it when I was 22, so that was 8 years ago. So if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, oh well.
Just a little bit of research, no biggie.
Yeah, no, I need a co-host to occasionally just to it's called Nadsat. It's it was yeah. Oh no, it is fictional. Okay.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
What's his name? I can't remember the writer's name.
It's Anthony Burgess.
That's who it is. That's right. So I said I read it, but that's actually a lie. I listened to it, which some people say it's not that different from reading, but I kind of love audiobooks, so I really don't mind that. And I don't know if you've ever, maybe it's in the prologue of his written works too, but he openly complains about Kubrick's adaptation of A Clockwork Orange, and his main complaint is just that he didn't include the last chapter. And
Okay.
I don't know, I was wondering if you had any thoughts about that, because I bet you read it all the way through. Do you remember the last chapter and how it's different from the movie, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, everything that Kubrick's made, he's always put his own spin to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only vaguely aware of the fact that Anthony Burgess wasn't impressed with it. I didn't even really know much about that. I know that there's the whole chapter deal, but they miss out a hell of a lot in most of the stuff. The Shining film is fuck all like the book.
It's not like the book at all. Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah.
2001. That's probably about the only one that's almost like for like, and that's because they kind of worked together and wrote it almost at the same time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Full Metal Jacket, I've never read the book of that. I know that they're all based on, everything he's based is on a book, so I've never read that.
That's pretty badass. They kind of just exclusively direct movies that are based on books. And because that's like that's actually really ballsy, because everyone always says that the movies are not as good as the books. So to just kind of take that head on and only do that, only someone like Kubrick would do that.
There's a couple of films that he was going to do, but he didn't get released. Napoleon was one that was in the works, but they released Waterloo about the same time, so he decided not to do it, which would have been an amazing film. There was also, he was going to do The Aryan Papers, it was called, which was basically like his version of, it was his take on, World War II and the genocide. But then obviously Schindler's List got released, and again, same time, he didn't want to oversaturate the market, but then he also didn't want to film it because the way he would have shown it would be too fucked up. Showing the true face of humanity, and he was a bit like, allegedly, he was, like, maybe I can't do this because it might be a bit too much. It's kind of sad, really. He was one of the greatest fucking directors of all time, and only did certain amounts of films.
Great, yeah.
Have you ever read any David Wong?
No.
Oh, you
I'm
probably
writing
should.
down right now. You're gonna take notes the whole time. I'm always finding
Yeah,
stuff anyways.
I live with a pen next to me, and literally post-it notes are scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the best way. It's just to go bang. There's been very few people that have heard of him. The last guest heard of him, and it was a shocker for me not to mention it. So I always put it out there because his writing's very unique and very weird. But the thing I liked about your book is it got straight into the nitty gritty about weed, which is a very rare thing,
Yeah. I don't know where that started. It probably started with the fact that, some people, they can get really creative when they're high. Some people not so much. Some people kind of like, couch lock and they're not. But I get like almost in a frenzy. Your last episode I was listening to, it was episode 27. You were talking about bath salts and how like you got into a creative frenzy. And I was thinking like, okay, totally different energy, but I don't know why. Some reason weed gets me like really going, and I get like wild, and I just like want to be alone and just write or create. So yeah, I think it was just for me smoking while I was writing, and then all of a sudden it just kind of turned into like most of the story. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed getting high the whole time while I was writing it. So that was fun too.
For that was a different process. I never really did much writing on that. That was more making music. When I have wrote, I did slightly write something. I'm about 5,000 words in, but I had to put it to the shelf for a bit. Even then, when I was writing, I would go out I've got like a plastic greenhouse where I'd go and smoke. And I'd just go take a few beers, take my phone, take a couple of spliffs and some smokes, and I'd just sit there, and again, I'd frenzy it out. And I'd just keep writing to the point where I'd just keep drinking and writing to the point where I'd start making typos. And then once I'd start making typos, I'd go, okay, we're done now. We'll come back tomorrow. Right. We'll come back tomorrow, fix those typos, and then go again. But I had like tons of notes on my phone, and then I started to put it up on my computer, and then it just got a bit too, I don't know. If I could narrate it all, it'd be fantastic.
You do have a really nice voice. Like I could see you narrating a book or doing audiobooks and do it.
You think?
Well with that.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I hate my voice. It's terrible. It's very deep. I had this voice when I was 13. It's
that'd have been scary talking to a 13-year-old with your voice.
Yeah, it's I hit puberty fast and hard. It sucked.
That does sound like it sucked. So yeah, I don't know. My voice, I'm 24 right now, and my voice has not changed at all since I was like 15. I don't know what's up with that. So my apologies to all of your listeners that have to listen to my raspy lesbian voice, but it is what it is. So I'm not
sometimes, again, it's nice though to have a contrast, because my voice is very deep and heavy, and then you're very soft spoken. So it's a nice balance. It's not, it's not really. I wouldn't even say it's lesbian or feminine. I had a friend growing up, and he had the most highest pitched voice you would ever know. It's to the point you should be very calm and collective about yours, because I could maybe one day I'll supply you with some proof, and you'll be like, "Oh no, I'm good, I'm cool." But this guy, he was 2 years older than me, and I don't think his voice ever broke. He probably could have been like one of those old Spanish choir boys who got castrated. It was one of them. Maybe Maybe a tragedy for him, but if he'd have learnt to sing, it'd have probably worked out in his favour. But he had a terrible singing voice as well. So
Oh shit.
shout
Yeah, you
out
can't
to
really.
him.
Well, I hope he's doing well out there in the world with his high voice.
Oh, nah, he's not. It's
Ah shit.
yeah, he's not. It's oh well. He doesn't really listen to my show. I reached out to him a while ago, gave him some sort of opportunities. Paid no attention. So fool on him. Very old friend, but a fool. So and a lazy bastard. Don't really like them. Uh,
That's the bad kind of fool. There's like a good fool, but lazy bastard is like
yeah. What's your thoughts on people? Because people that judge people for smoking cannabis think they're all lazy, and I think that's a complete myth.
oh,
Um,
absolutely, 110%. I mean, definitely, if I have smoked too much, I mostly want to just play Skyrim or watch a Quentin
Ooh.
Tarantino movie or Kubrick or something like that. That is for sure. But that has nothing to do with when I'm sober. I'm working hard, especially like if I'm in a creative zone, like I'm less like in it. I'm working harder than probably any other point while I'm just half my ass. Especially with spliffs. Do you roll spliffs like I mentioned in the book with half
that's what I do. Yeah. That's what I
nice.
liked about it as well. You got it right to the wording. It's not quite half and half though. It's about 20. Well, depending. Um, some people put like a whack load of tobacco in and then a little bit of weed, and it's some people do half and half, whereas I do like a 25-75 split. You know, there's weird. We all roll differently as well in this country. Some people use tobacco, which I do. Some people use cigarettes. It's a very weird culture for smoking in this country.
Speaking of love, I mean, I'm actually really interested to see what the stoner scene's like in the UK because I was born in California. I grew up in Mexico, and in Mexico, you'd be surprised what the weed scene's like over there. It's pretty fun, actually. It's terrible weed though. Like God bless their souls. Like they got to start importing some stuff
They
from
haven't got
other places.
they haven't got the ground for it. That's the difference.
That's probably it. And I was way down in the south too, like way down over in the Yucatan. So totally different climate, hard to work with there.
It's very hard
But
ground. You know,
what's up?
it's very hard ground. I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Probably very little nitrates, and it's probably well, there's a reason they grow cacti.
Yeah, yeah, or like corn, like where I'm at, that was like the Mayan Empire. And they grew corn until they depleted the soil entirely, and then they couldn't grow
Mm.
any corn. And
Well,
that's the fall of the Mayan Empire. It's
that's
corn.
all an interesting thing because I love the rise and fall of empires, and it's weird that they were so agricultured that they just fucking made the forests. The forests weren't even there. They man-made. People don't even know that. It was all man-made. They just planted fucking fruit trees and loads of other trees, and then some shit come in, and then next thing it's one of the greatest tropical fucking paradises in the world.
Gosh, I didn't even know that. See, I grew up over there.
Yeah, it's most of it's sort of completely man-made forest. It's
Mm.
fucking crazy. But they did fuck the soil, which is a problem. They fucked
It
it
was
for hundreds of years. You still can't do really anything with it now. They just use the same soil over and over again. And for those people for cannabis, some cheap cannabis, I've known cheap cannabis growers to do that. And I'm like, bro, you're going to get nothing out of that weed. You'll grow some weed, but it's going to have nothing in it. It's going to be just going to be like fucking tumbleweeds. You might as well just roll it all up in a ball and kick it down the road and just watch the wind blow it away.
Just hope that like enough smoke like fills your lungs that you just get a head rush just from smoke, not even like cannabis smoke.
Yeah. Yeah, you get carbon monoxide poisoning is what you'll somehow get. This is I've known some people to grow some shit weed as well. It's terrible stuff. Terrible
The UK is
plants.
pretty good though, right? Like the soil's good, I can imagine. It's not legal there yet, but I'm sure it's not a problem, right?
No, we are the world's biggest supplier of UK medicinal cannabis.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't even know where we're growing it.
Oh,
I've mentioned it like 4 times on my show, hoping that someone will either shut me down or the government will go, "Oh, I know about that weed plant, do ya?" And I'll go, "Yeah, man, I know where that plant is. It's underground somewhere, isn't it, fools?" and
Probably, yeah.
we're getting fucking lidar on it, you know.
I I would love so bad, man, to have my own strain. Like that's like
Mm.
I'm like if I could sell enough books to where I could make my own weed empire, that would be like the dream. I don't even know. Like that's what everyone's doing here, but it sounds like fun.
What would you call it?
So we'll see. Okay, so in my book, I have a strain that I invented a bunch of strains, and when you get to the end, I list off a bunch of other ones I just made up on the spot. But I'd probably call my first strain Little Bliss because that's just like my
Yeah.
favorite is.
Well, that's the first one that you mentioned.
Yeah, I go
Yeah.
for Blue Dream, kind of just like that high sativa chill vibe. That
Mm.
a little bit, indica, but like way kind of I don't know. I just like that chill. Blue Dream.
What's your favorite smoke?
Oh, it's Blue Dream. That's
Okay.
it. It was the first one. It's actually funny. When I first moved back to California, I was living in Santa Cruz, which is a pretty cool stoner area. If you've ever been there, it's pretty chill. And my roommate took me to the beach, and I'd smoked weed in Mexico, but I'd never had any in California yet. And that was when it really knocked me on my ass.
It's all about that Cali weed, son.
Oh my god, man! I still remember staring up at the sky for I think like we were at the beach, and I just remember staring up at the sky and staring up at the sky and staring at the sky, thinking that I was in a movie, and then realizing that everyone had walked away and they'd gone on like a mile walkway without me, and I was just chilling there on the sand. But yeah, Cali weed, that's where it's at. But I heard the UK's got it too, and I'm sure other countries have even way more kick-ass stuff than us. So
we, at the minute, I'm like, we have weird sort of. I'll buy off someone. I'm not gonna shout him out. Yo, shout out to fucking. Here's his number, folks.
here's his address.
Yeah.
Me to hit him up. Just throw my name in there. Yeah.
But no, I occasionally I buy CBD from CBD herb. So it's like it's still a flower. Occasionally I buy that from shops because that's pretty legal. But most of the stuff that I get is almost the same, just because it's like homegrown essentially. It's normally like Stardog or well, at the minute it's fucking Stardog.
All the dogs are good though. Like all the dogs are pretty legit. Yeah, indica heavy if I remember right. But yeah, they're good.
There's also a lot of amnesia haze that floats about, and what I'd like is we used to do a lot of cheese. Like we were known for this country for like that's our strain, and it's apparently really big over America now. But it's dirt cheap over here. But I haven't had no like proper really nice cheese in a long time.
I've
And you
never
get
even heard of cheese fan, and now I'm gonna go out and find it. That's
you get
something I actually
you,
wanna
if
get
you
me.
if you're looking for it, look for blue cheese. It's like a
Blue cheese.
blueberry cheese cross, and it is fucking amazing. It's my personal favorite weed. It is pungent. It makes your mouth water. That's how good it is.
All right.
Physically makes your mouth water. It's
Uh,
delicious. You can chew, and if you make a nice spliff, you can like chew the smoke almost, and it's gorgeous, man.
What are you drinking there?
This is it's a company I want to try and get to sponsor me. They're my favorite beer. They're a honey flavored beer. Shout out to Perla again. You're gonna need to fucking give me some money soon.
Yeah, seriously.
Now I emailed them, but it was a very unprofessional email. But it was on the basis that if I'm going to email them and deal with them, I'd rather them talk to me as if I'm talking to them. So it wasn't like, "Hey, Perla, I'm interested in this." It was, "Hey, Perla, fucking love your drink. Drink 100 cans this month. Do you want to give me some money?" It was almost along that sort of cheeky sort of basis. Might have got straight to the junk then.
Well,
You never know.
I've reached out trying to like promote my book and stuff like that, or just trying to promote or whatever, just trying to connect with people. And man, I've sent my fair share of cheeky emails. I've never gotten a response. I'm hoping I get a cheeky response. Like someone's like, "No, fuck you, dumb bitch. Like, don't bother us," or something like that. I'd dig it. I'd be like, "All right, cool."
Well,
Talking to a human.
so far, I've got like a free. Again, my studio is like rigged with LEDs, like everywhere. And to begin with, I bought like 2 little sets, and then sort of emailed the company. I was like, "These are fucking great," and then I got like 2 free sets. So I was like, "Cool." So I've sort of built my own response around that, of just me, just being me. But it was funny because me and my partner went out to a hotel last week because we was going to go and check out a comedy club. And we went to stay at a Hilton, and I gave them a rude shout out in a previous show because they looked at me like I was a tramp.
Oof.
I mean, I'll put it out there. Again, I had to get a couple of trains, and it was a boiling hot day. So I did turn up in some jeans and a vest, and with a rucksack on, and this hat, and I didn't look great. But when you're checking in, and then you get an overcharge. I got overcharged as well, which was a fuckery,
That just me.
and I didn't really want to dispute it, but I didn't really get acknowledged, which was completely, rude and disrespectful. But anyway, the night continued. Me and my partner went out, had a good time, blah, blah. I went out to get some chicken because I was fucking starving. So I went out to get some fried chicken. It seems to be my go-to when I'm drinking is just, let's get 20 pieces of chicken. Woof. All gone. And then I got locked out of the hotel. And then for 20 minutes, terrible night. Woke up the next morning feeling like shit. Went to go and get breakfast. And then there was like, oh, you have no breakfast. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And then I started to it was up until that moment, I was all cool. But when I wake up in the morning and I can't have a cup of coffee and a breakfast that I paid for and I was overcharged, yeah, I kind of flipped the lid. And she was like, yeah, you'll have to just go to the main desk, sort it out, thank you. And I was like, yeah, thank fuck you, That little sly, yeah, fuck you too, And we left. And I put a really rude review up. And then 2 days later, the manager called me up, gave me my money back, apologized like fuck, and then said, next time you come, send me an email beforehand and we'll sort you out. So I want to give a shout out to Emily from the fucking Hilton for actually doing her job, looking after potential future customers on a monthly basis, and fucking up your staff because they're rude people.
Yeah,
Sorry about that little rant there.
No, you're good. You're good because it makes me think like it's actually something I've been kind of working on. Because you said your favorite podcast is Joe Rogan, and my favorite podcast is a friend of it is Duncan Truss. I don't know if you listen to Duncan Truss Family Hour.
Yeah.
Love that show.
Spoke about him last night.
Show. Oh, really?
Yeah. He was on the 1666 episode. And I have a son, and again he mentioned a YouTube person called Blippy on that show.
Yeah.
And after I looked into it, and I was like, oh, this guy is actually pretty fucking good, because what Duncan Trussell said, he really interacts with the children and blah blah blah, like the way he portrays himself, and I was like, okay, this is kind of a cool guy. So I've started watching it myself a little bit. Because again, the way and it was weird, I can relate to this Blippy guy because when I talk to kids or my own son, I make sure everything's over the top so that they can understand. And so that when I seen this, I was like, oh shit, no, I get this. Like, and we went out shopping because it was my son's birthday and I seen a Blippy t-shirt. And it was so strange because it was just so coincidental, that listen to that show, then 2 days later I'm seeing this fucking shirt everywhere. So I took a picture and fucking put it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, fucking at Duncan Trussell, since watching 1666, this fucker's manifesting itself everywhere, and I got a good like. So it was cool, man. It was a good day. I got a like from Duncan Trussell, and it was my son's birthday.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
It's a good day, man.
Yeah. See, what I love about that guy is he's all about positivity, like he's funny as hell. And he's like, done some crazy shit, but he's just all about positivity in the end of the day. And the Blippy thing that was crazy. I don't want to talk about it too much, but that's like weird conspiracy. Like all of a sudden they just changed Blippy and no one explained that. Like that,
so
I didn't have kids, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? But yeah.
I've only just recently found out about. I love conspiracies, and this is a new one that's just cropped up, and I'm like, oh wow, this is getting really interesting now with this Blippy guy.
Yeah.
These shirts are coming up, and there's conspiracies, and it's crazy. It's so
what I was,
strange.
yeah, what I was gonna say though, about Duncan Trussell, and it's funny that you should say like synchronicities, you know, with like
Mm.
listening to him and seeing that. Sure, I swear, whenever I listen to an episode where Duncan Trussell is talking about just kind of being kinder, or he has a guest like David Nichtern, who's like a meditation expert, talking about being kind and positive and all of that, like I get tested. The Lord tests me the very next day, every single time. Like it's a synchronicity. I know it. So yeah, I what well, I guess what I was gonna say is the with the hotel like getting treated like a tramp and then just kind of like being blown off and overcharged, I would have fucking lost it. Like I'm a cool guy. I'm really, really sweet when I talk to people, but
You
like
seem it,
all of
man.
that would like crush me, man. And I'd get all boiling, my blood would be boiling, I could freak out. And that's when I think about Duncan Trussell and I guess now Blippi probably. Just like just be cool. Just be cool. Just be cool.
Well, it's
But then
just
you get
like
this.
it was like the first time out for 2 years as well,
Oh yeah.
And the annoyances I'd booked in for a fucking goddamn spa and all sorts of fucking shit. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so so when I was like, man, I'm not gonna get that spa. I didn't even get my breakfast. And the piss take was I'd been like a gym member with them for years and stayed with them fucking all around the country. It was
Yeah.
fucked, man. I was like
That's fucked. Yeah.
devastated. But let's fuck that hotel talk off, man. But here's something: you kind of sound, because obviously Duncan Trussell's very soft-spoken, and you're kind of the same way. But he's got a little bit of a bit of a rasp to his voice that you've not quite got. But you've almost the same like higher octaves, but not the lowers.
I see him smokes more spliffs. And maybe do get into a K-hole. I've never done ketamine, so maybe
That might be the difference.
yeah.
That's the difference. He's got that smoker's rasp.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually got the raspy lesbian voice that they mentioned earlier. I got that from him. I totally get that.
No. It's crazy, man. Are you a fan of Stephen King?
Yeah. It's funny. The first Stephen King book I ever read was his own writing.
Oh, wow. What a good one to start with.
I know. I lucked out totally by random. I was just like, oh, I'm trying to write. Let's see what this guy has to say. Like he's sold a bunch of books, I guess. And I checked out, and it was so good, so good. But yeah, I love Stephen King, for sure.
What's your favorite book?
Okay, so I would say On Writing. I would definitely say On Writing,
Okay.
because I've read so many books about writing, and so many of them just seem so mechanical and so like there's nothing to it. And that book just had so much life in it, and finding out about his story, and then the where he talks about getting hit by that car, like all of that was just like it rocked my socks off. So that's probably my favorite Stephen King, which is kind of lame. And I love The Shining.
Didn't something spoofed that, didn't it? Way back when. I can't remember what it was, whether it was a cartoon or something, but they spoofed Stephen King getting hit
Oh really?
by a
That's not like a
car.
Simpsons thing.
I think it might have been a Simpsons. The Simpsons are ringing in my mind. Um,
He's been a guest star in The Simpsons a bunch of times too, which is hella cool.
yeah, I
Yeah.
met Joe Hill many years ago.
No way.
Yeah, it was fucking. It was. I can't remember the place now because I was I was doing a hell of a lot of drugs at the time, getting trains here, there, and everywhere. But one of my ex partners was a huge fan, and it was um, about a year maybe after he released. Oh shit! What was the fucking film now? Daniel Radcliffe.
Horns, right?
Horns. Yeah. I got I basically went to. He did like some signing at Waterstones, and I when I got it signed, and it was pretty cool. But I was. It was one of those moments where I tried to not act like a fucking weird fanboy because that's the problem. People always associate him with his fucking father, and most people would assume that they'd meet him and go, "Oh, let's talk about your dad," and it'd drive you mad.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine.
so I had to refrain slightly from doing so, but it was just a quick, a little, but it was cool, man. Like, Horns was a bad film.
Unfortunately, because I haven't read the book for Horns, but all his other stuff's really good. I mean, The Dark Tower, that's him and his dad, right?
Mm.
Yeah, like
Is it,
that's all good writing.
what about In the Tall Grass? That's cool. The
I haven't read
film,
Progress. I'm writing it down.
well, the film wasn't great. It was okay, but the book is good.
Tends
One
to
of
be
my
the case in it.
I like the fact of the way he just bases everything around Maine. You know, there's this huge mythology around one specific area, and the fact that everything sort of intertwines. You know, to the point where the I always confuse this. Pet Cemetery,
Mhm.
uh, with the fucking Indian burial ground and all that shit. I think that gets mentioned in um, Children of the Corn or something like that. There's some weird crossovers, um, which is what I like about it. The fact that he's got this. I can't remember which one it is, but they go in and go down some little straight path, and there's that little rock. This I'm basing that off the film, just for a potential people to know what I'm talking about, because there's not many people that have read all of Stephen King's books.
Have
So,
you?
mm,
You're a pretty big fan. I know that. I mean,
I've
obviously.
I'd like to say yes, but it's impossible. There's I've had his like ebook collection. I've got most of his stuff on paperback and hardback. Um, I'm sure there's a few that have always slipped through the net. Um, but there's probably a hell of a lot of short stories I've not read.
Oh yeah, I forget that dude like he put out a bunch of shorts. So excuse me for 1 second. My lizard is like
Ooh,
jump. So yeah, I'll bring him over actually.
cool!
Right.
Fucking first we had a cat on the last show, and now we're gonna have a lizard. This is becoming a.
That's
Oh wow!
folks.
I used to have bearded dragons.
That's him. So
Yeah,
Raz the bearded dragon. He's shedding
cool.
right now. Oh, he ran. He's being an asshole already.
Is
But
he black around his neck? No,
oh no,
yeah.
I think that was just because I pissed him off. Because bearded dragons they get a little angry.
Yeah, they go
Um,
fucking black and hiss at you. Good
yeah.
man. Mine, I used to have three. I used to have a boy and two girls. I used to have like a 12-foot vivarium. It was fucking massive.
Yeah, it's
Um,
gonna be hard. So I know they're territorial, right? Like I've never seen him interact with another beardy. But I hear that they fight. Like they get into it.
they they didn't really bother that much. The
Okay.
male would just fuck around with the females a lot. The two females got a little bit aggressive when they got pregnant, and then I had
Mhm.
to separate them. But luckily, I had a tank big enough to do so. But it was a bit sad in the end. They obviously was all getting a bit old, and they fucking all passed from little things. And obviously, the females fucked each other up, which was well, they didn't quite fuck each other up, but you could tell there was some animosity. And I wished I'd have gave one of the females away,
Uh,
because I think that's kind of what done it in. It was I got given them all, and they was all living together fine for ages, but for some reason, whether it was just the move or time, I had them for like 3 years, but they was pretty big when I got them, so it could have just been old age, and I'm probably beating myself up.
yeah, probably.
I've got these sad images in my head, like, man, that was a hard time, and I'm like, maybe they just got old.
Yeah. I mean, they can live up to 14, but they usually don't. Yeah, especially with like, yeah, no, they just probably got old. 3 years. I mean,
Yeah, I
but
think they probably was about 8 or 9, maybe.
wow. Okay, yeah. So that's that's up there.
Mm.
This little guy, he just turned 2 actually. When we got him, this teenager in Delaware just like was not taking good care of him. Had him in like a tiny enclosure, didn't have UVB lights, didn't have the right food, like just fucked up entirely. And we were like pretty sure that he was like on the verge of getting metabolic bone disease, which is a thing that they can get if they don't
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
proper care.
yeah.
Um,
Proper nutrients. If they're just being fed, if they're not being fed live food, they can get that. Just got a
yeah, and he's
protein deficiency and calcium and shit.
yeah, yeah. So we're super glad we got him because we got him, and now he's like super happy, healthy, got tickets to that and all that good stuff. He's trying to jump off my desk, so I'm gonna put him in his enclosure. Come on, buddy.
That's cool.
I think he's
Uh,
gonna poop. So all right, buddy.
Years ago, I had to confiscate a lizard and take it to the RSPCA. Uh, this is a very vague memory because, again, I was fucking heavily under the influence of drugs. But one of my friends had a lizard. Well, we used to go around this house where we'd all have a sesh and we'd all get fucked up. And we went round there one day to find this person had a lizard and she had it in a fucking bird cage. And I immediately went mad because I didn't know fuck all really about lizards at that point, but I knew that they're not kept in cages. Like it was all, and I mean it was literally almost like a bird cage. I couldn't even say that it was like a hamster cage. It was literally shaped like a bird cage. Um, but that was like, again, this is about 13 years ago. But it was fucking crazy what some people do. And I think, if I remember rightly, it was swapped for some drugs, which was weird because she clearly got the worst end of that deal because the lizard would have died and she gave away a lot of drugs. So it's.
And you don't even know how to take care of it. You might as well just have the drugs.
Yeah, it was that. Well, there's a weird little logical way of thinking behind that. In which, again, if you don't know how to take, I think it was just some people get these fucking weird ways when they get fucked up, and they're like, "Oh, I'll have that lizard," you know, and with no clue as to what they eat, and like, yeah, it eats grass, doesn't it? What the fuck?
Like just spend spend 20 minutes on YouTube, man. Like at least something like Google takes no time at all.
What do you feed your birdie?
So I give him he eats a lot of dubia roaches, eats a lot of crickets, and then he's actually really into veggies. We've been getting him to eat salads way more. He's been getting better and better at it. He's like
Salads are good.
Oh yeah, the previous owner, he just gave him like dry, dead, things, and never gave him enough veggies. I don't think so. So now we've got him.
Just be careful with certain types of like lettuces. I think iceberg lettuce is
It messes
really.
them up.
Yeah, there's people just think you can just give standard greens to them, but there's some that you will fuck them up. They've got this little tiny digestive system, it's teeny, and you give them this fucking huge piece of iceberg lettuce, and it's fucks them up, man.
Yeah.
Sucks all the nutrients out in a way.
Yeah, because it's like all water. One thing I found out about beardies though that I didn't know until recently is they have a third eye. Like they actually have a third eye in their head.
Heat.
Good.
Yeah, that's how they gauge heat, isn't it?
Oh, okay. So I was trying to figure out what it is because he definitely changes color when it's in different temperatures.
I think that third eye is like a thermal sensor. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm pulling this out of my overspilled brain. I could be heavily wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's for. It's like same with snakes. I think snakes have the same thing. That's how I think that's how all reptiles take in thermal.
That's cool.
Might have to Google that.
Humans have like a reptilian brain, though, right? Like that's a thing.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Are humans part aliens, or are just the post-humans ones with the third eye?
Well, if you want my opinion, it's an opinion, it's not a fact. I think we're fucked about with over time and history. Evolution would have taken great advances and leaps with other species, because again, we're probably, if we wasn't so smart, we'd be dead.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
We'd be fucked. If we didn't have real intelligence and conscious thinking, we'd be getting killed by alligators all the time and snakes, and we'd probably be getting killed by fucking cows and domesticated animals. Like, we're so soft and squidgy.
And we're not conscious there yet, where we are actively killing ourselves actually a little bit, as we go along. So it's kind of, we're still not there. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, we've been killing ourselves since the dawn of time.
Oh, damn straight. I'm sure.
That's why it's impressive we've got this far, because all we've done is wage war, fucking cause chaos, and annihilate species off the planet. How the fuck ain't we dead?
I know.
During all of that process, we should have been wiped the fuck out.
And we like to shit on Homo erectus a lot as being like the lesser evolved version, but I mean, Homo erectus was around for almost 2 million years, and we've been here for like less than 200,000. Like, if you're going by like,
Mm,
yeah, it's debated. Actually, I think I saw something recently that said we were like around for a little bit longer, which I think's cool. But still, we haven't been here that long, and we're still like, it seems like we're
yeah.
close to fucking ourselves up.
You see, I'm a huge believer in. I mean, again, you mentioned sort of God earlier. Religiously, are you religious? A little bit.
Spiritual. I'm
Okay.
not super into conventional religion, but
Just wanted to just okay.
yeah,
Um, I'm I was raised in like Christian sort of schools, so I was taught, okay, fucking Jesus was born, and then there was man, and blah 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 blah, that narrative. And then I left school, but I got older, did a lot of drugs, learnt some more, and then looked into a whole bunch of wacky shit. Um, Settled down, did loads of work and jobs, and my body's a bit fucked up and whatever. But then, sort of, after stopping work, looked into a lot of stuff and sort of further educated myself in any way, shape, or form which I could, which is by watching shitty documentaries, because sometimes there's some good knowledge in old documentaries. Sometimes there's a bit of shit. But I'll literally spend most of my days reading and learning because education doesn't stop at school, but most people think it does. But I'm a firm believer that all of the myths, all of the bullshit, all of the old stories were probably true. And over hundreds of thousands of years, the stories, just like Chinese whispers, have just been diluted to a story, folklore, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
written
think
history is so short. Like, it's nothing. Like, written history is nothing.
nothing. And we don't even have full access to archives because the Vatican owns the last 2,000 years, essentially.
Yeah,
And anything before then, maybe they have a lot of that shit. The Library of Alexandria.
yeah,
Apparently, some of that stuff was shipped off to the Sphinx and to Egypt through Mark Antony. Again, it was a gift. And, well, some of that information's got to be somewhere.
yeah. So
Most,
like,
it's crazy. Most of that was under Rome as well. Just going to point that out there that the Library of Alexandria got accidentally burnt when Rome came in and burnt the naval fleets.
right. See, I don't know too much about that. I think I've heard that it was intentional, but that could have been someone just adding their own what they believe.
Yeah.
Without because I just heard like it was intentional, like it was deliberate. I don't know.
Well, it probably was.
Yeah.
You don't just accidentally. Well, again, they set fire to the ships, but the accident was the library being burnt and the knowledge being lost.
Who knows?
But that's all of history,
Yeah. So you say like myths. What myths are you talking about? Because like I know that like the Great Flood probably happened. Because a bunch of different religions have their own.
Yeah, I believe in that, but I also kind of believe that stories like dragons was us probably fucking around with dinosaurs. Fits the tale.
Pterodactyls that
Big,
can breathe fire. Like then, that's it.
big, huge motherfucking wing thing. Maybe it was just about extinct, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe there was only a couple of them. That would make sense because birds have survived till modern day. So you're telling me that maybe a couple of those pterodactyls didn't hide in some fucking cave,
Yeah.
surviving the fallout, and then picking off the fucking bits, and then hundreds of years later, we go and fucking come out of our little caves and we're like, holy shit, look at that giant winged reptile. We have to fucking kill that because it's sweeping up our kids, That's probably the tale. It's all of stories are probably just they add so much detail. Whereas if you take all the detail out and put it to a small little thing, it makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you got like we were talking about Homo erectus, you got Homo habilis too that was like around even like kind of close like Homo sapien time, and like those dudes look like gnomes. Like you look at those skeletons, you're like those are gnomes. Like I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Like,
the Hobbit people.
Hobbit people, halfling, like
Yeah,
where you, yeah,
from Indonesia.
yeah. So
There was a
yeah,
video of one of them being caught on camera, apparently.
really.
Well, there was two people on motorbikes, and they was riding along, and there was some little man running along with a spear, and then he darts like left into some corn, and you never know. But he looked pretty small.
I'd about shit myself if I was on a motorcycle and a little dude with a spear was like running next to me.
Well,
I don't think I'll
well,
pull
it,
up my camera. I think I just shit
well,
myself.
there was filming anyway. There was just going like GoProing on like motocross, and then obviously they come up to this little junction, and then there's like a little man with a spear. So obviously they pull up, and then obviously they fucking clock the little man, and next thing he's running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. They're all revving, trying to keep up with the guy, and then he just literally does a left into some corn,
Huh.
like some long grass, and gone.
Huh. Hey, my partner's here with the groceries. I do want to continue this conversation. Can I just help her unload the groceries? I'll be right back.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can take a little intermission, man. That's all cool.
All right.
Fire away. It's all good.
We'll call it 5-10 minute intermission.
Show, like the last show, we're going to close out, and we're going to close out with Kai Morid doing another. So it's all cool. I'll edit that bit of dead air. I say dead air. I did like a minute of talking, and then I was like, okay, I need to just phone up my drug dealer. Nah, it's all cool. He was even more confused than me. He thought I phoned him yesterday. I was like, no.
That's
no,
a good drug dealer though, who's like, hey, you phoned me yesterday. Like, at least tries to like stop you instead of being like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I'll come back and sell you.
Oh no, he's a cool guy. He's one of the most hardest working, and this is what's fucked up is people have huge views upon people that go out and hustle, whereas this guy is one of the most hardest working people I ever know. Like, he does apart from his side job, he has a normal job. So, but he literally hustles from fucking the morning until like 12 at night, like just consistently, just for his kids. That's all it is. He just grafts and works his balls off for his kids, which is why I have a huge level of respect for him.
Absolutely, and that ties into what we're saying way back in the beginning, just like about people thinking of stoners and people who smoke weed as just being lazy. Like, no, most of the time that people have shit going on. People have lives. We're human. And,
I only smoke weed because I'm just always at fucking 1,000,000 miles an hour. So it's I need to kind of slow down, because if I didn't, it's God, I wouldn't even want to imagine the results. It could, jeez.
Your podcast would have to be slowed down a little bit. People listen to it down to 80% speed.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Well, I talk fast anyway, which is the big problem. So if I was not drinking and smoking, fuck, there wouldn't be no seconds. No one, I wouldn't even. There'd be no point having guests. It'd just be like da 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 da, just be going off like a fucking goddamn minigun.
Man, I've thought about making my own podcast where I just kind of go into philosophy. I really like multiverse theory. You talked about it with your last guest. I thought that was super cool. I thought I would just like make a podcast where I just talk into the mic. I have no idea how people who do that. Like, how can you just talk? Like, I need a guest. Like, I would need a guest. I need someone to talk to, someone to chat with.
I did a couple of shows that was just me.
Oh, damn.
And it was good practice. I think you need to kind of just chat some shit for 50, 60 minutes. Just to see. I mean, I don't edit my shows apart from the dead air, which is, that's a new thing. But I'm going to fill that. That's being filled soon. There's going to be a shake-up in July. But it will benefit the show tenfold.
Tell me more about it, if you don't mind.
Ooh, I can't. Not allowed.
No,
Sorry.
All right.
until the process is about 4 shows in and it's secure and solid, then I'll talk about it for you.
Fair enough.
But I'm shaking things up. I'm always looking to shake shit up. We'll get there. I almost look at that, like a fucking CIA interrogator trying to. That's that silence. That's the thing. It's like, I'm waiting for you to talk. Go on, just say it. Just go on and say it. That's all it is. I'm not. Nah, I ain't saying shit. We'll get there in a couple of shows. we'll get there. I'd like to invite you to again. I've got a couple of big events in the works, but I'll talk to you about an event off air.
Oh, hell
I'd
yeah.
like to be
Hell yeah.
involved in that because that's going to be a cool one.
Hell yeah.
Uh, and as a fan of Duncan Trussell, you get an automatic invite.
I knew that would give me something someday. Being his Patreon supporter, I already get like the commercial free podcast, but now I get cool shit events. Hell yeah. That's what's up. That's where it's at.
Have you ever seen the way he changes his? I don't want to talk about him too much, but the way he always changes his Twitter name to
Oh
like
yeah.
Duncan Trussell of Ravencroft Manor or fucking.
Yeah. What is he right now? He was a something expert for a long time. He keeps on changing. He's like a food
Yeah.
expert. Yeah. His Twitter's
Brilliant.
funny as hell, actually.
Have you watched the Midnight Gospel?
Oh my god, I love Midnight Gospel. Love that. Love that. It was just so cool to see some of those conversations that were so deep, being animated and all that. And then some of the bands that they had or some of the music they had too. I really love that. Pendleton Ward, I mean, God, dude's just a visionary for sure. For sure.
Have
For sure.
He's just been on Steve-O's show as well.
That's a super
Steve-O's Wild Ride.
I didn't know Steve-O had a show. I should check
Yeah,
Steve-O.
fuck. Everyone has a podcast now.
I know.
Jeez. You should do one yourself. You should.
Would you be a guest? If you would be a guest, then yeah, maybe I'll do it. I'd
I'll
be
be
way more likely.
I'll be your first guest.
Hell yeah! All right, done. All right, then I guess I have to now. Committed.
Just
Verbal agreement.
get a catchy name, get some shit together, DM me, and we'll do it.
Okay. All right. I'm good. I'm good.
So far, I've got like 4 people to launch fucking podcasts. I love it, man.
You're
But
the podcast Terminator, you just
the thing is anyone can do it.
yeah.
Like, even if it's, I mean, my conversations, the longest is 3 hours 26. That's been the longest so far. Wait, I take that back. The longest so far was last night, but I fucking lost half an hour. So technically, the record was broken, but it wasn't.
I mean, if there's no record of it, then the record's still free. 3.5
Yeah.
hours. I don't know if I have that much time, but I'm willing to try.
No. I don't ever set it out as a challenge to anybody, but that it was a record that wasn't even intentional. It was a very cool conversation as well, because I was blasted. I was wild. And it took me about 3 hours. And then well, some of it there was just audio, and then obviously we've gone to video for a bit, and then I was like, man, this is a handsome looking guy, he's looking pretty cool, looks about mid-20s, whatever. Turns out the guy was 17, and it was like this wild episode up until, and I was like, wait, what? and it was the biggest like shock of the whole fucking shit, because it was just wild, and I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, we're going to continue anyway.
Yeah.
But it was just it was like, wait, what? But he looked older than me. He was just so fucking mature and about it, and he was the most switched up, because it was just consistent flow all the way, and I was like, man, this guy's a mature character. And I was like, what, you're 17? Like, man, you are going places. That was that's the first thing I said. I was like, you're going places, man. You just fucking did a 3-hour conversation with a complete stranger.
Sounds like killed it. Damn. And I was listening to your last podcast. You had another episode, or right before number 27, where you're talking about you had another really long conversation, but it got really intense, like breakdowns and stuff. And I could imagine myself at 3 hours. Yeah.
Well, that's another one. This is I've got to clear my throat for this story.
Okay.
I haven't even been able to release the episode. I hope the person we're talking about listens to this, because we had a very long conversation, but I had to again. He kind of compromised himself on the show. This is a very loose show. I drink, I smoke, but he slightly compromised himself. And I was like, okay, I don't mind editing it out. I don't mind that. And he was like, and I fucking hate editing. It's a tedious work. It's the only thing I don't like doing. I don't mind dead air because I can go, huh, the chair's there, I'm not there, cut. But when you have like a 3 hour conversation and then you have to cut 2 hours, you go, we've lost a lot of gold. And it was gold. It was the best fucking show ever. And that's what, and it's truly a bit annoying because it was one of the best shows I've ever done. But unfortunately, guy's got himself in a recent new relationship, and it's little things. But I respect that. Again, if it had dropped, if I'd have just gone, hey, here's an NDA, sign here. It's that's why I like my show, because I don't drop. I talk to people and I go, well, if you don't want it in, I can cut it, but it's going to take a while. But the show hasn't dropped because he doesn't want it to drop, which he's earned himself something that's a new system for July, the 2-strike policy. And he's one of the few people who's earned 1 strike to be blacklisted from the show. Which this is going to continue for like the next 10 years or up until whenever. And I've got another show in the works, so it's it wouldn't have bothered me, but I did 5 hours of editing for him to say, can you not do it at all? And I'm like, yeah, if you just said that from the start, cool. And there's nothing incriminating in there. I cut out so much incriminating shit that it's like a patchwork quilt of, well, it's not, because I made everything seamless, which is why it took fucking 5 hours. Again, I'm a sound engineer, I do music production, kind of know how to do it, but I don't want to spend my days doing it. All I want to do is talk shit. I don't want to, it's all I want to do, just talk shit and have a good time. I don't want to spend my days editing because you compromised yourself. It's not my fault. You knew what you was getting yourself into, my friend.
Yeah. But as a guest, and by the way, this is my first podcast ever. I've never done this before. Super excited to do it, by the way. And,
woo! First one. Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, you are more professional than most of my guests, my friend.
Oh.
No, I'm just no, I'm not most of my guests. Just the several in question at the minute.
Just the fun ones.
Not the fun ones, but you should do podcasting.
I've really thought about it. But what I was gonna say is, coming onto your show, you didn't ask me like, do I have like the right to record? Do I have the NDA? Any of that boring stuff. Made me feel way cooler. Because then it's like I've signed an NDA. It's just like, oh shit, like I'm committed now. And if I incriminate myself, that's just it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I don't have anything like that. I've thought about it a few times because but I wouldn't want it to get too political. That's not what this is about. It's about having fun. But if you have fucking fun and you have too much fun and you're on a show based around getting fucked up,
yeah,
and you don't want that to go into the world, well, it's not really the game that you're playing, is it?
Yeah.
You've played a completely different game. You've just got fucked up and took away a potential good get. Again, this is where I book people in, and you've took away a guest spot, and then you've took away another potential guest spot because I had to do 5 hours worth of editing.
Yeah.
So you've potentially took away 2 potential promotions for people. That's the real part, and that's all I like to do: have a laugh, promote people, and it's why I've come up with a blacklisting system.
Yeah. Yeah.
2-strike policy. It's pretty fair. So he knows he's got it. He'll be coming back on the show. But I have said to him, this time you compromise yourself, your fucking fault, my friend.
Yes,
So anyway, this is becoming rants. Let's talk about some actual fucking supernatural, paranormal, out there shit. We talk about multiverses. What's your thoughts on that?
All right. I'm gonna try to break it down because I've been trying to do this to task. It's a labor of love. My apologies if it sucks, but it is what it is. So I think genuinely do believe this. that in some way, all humans, all of us are really one. Animals, the world, everything, the space, universe, everything that's out there, we all really are one. I'm a monist if you stick to philosophy.
Yeah.
Now, to add to that, though, I think that there's a certain level of importance to the fact that we are conscious beings and we can make decisions, and that matters. And what I think is, I think that maybe I don't get too much into simulation theory. I like the original kind of like Buddhist. It's like this is Maya. This whole world is Maya. It's all just whatever we make up of it.
Simulation theory, I'm not a huge fan of.
Thank you. Yeah. Especially as soon as Elon Musk grabbed it, I was like, it's mainstream now. I got to go underground. Got to go even deeper. No, I'm kidding. It's not that bad. But anyways, I feel what I think is that, the decisions we make build the world that we're in. The thoughts we have build the world that we're in. And we're constantly, I think that this simulation, if that's the right word, supercomputer, God, whatever, is fabricating not just one universe, but an infinite supply of them at all times. And every time we make a decision, we're moving from one to the next. So when I think of the multiverse theory, I think of it as just like navigation. We're on this just sea of eternal possibility. And then you maybe you're in like a little raft, or maybe you're in a big boat with a bunch of other people, but you're just trying to figure out, which waters are the ones to go, trying to figure out the current sets. My metaphysical view, I guess, of everything.
What gets me deep with it is the fact that this answer could have been different to another answer I could have given you. Like what I just said there in another parallel dimension could have been different, so on and so forth, and that's infinite. That goes on and on and on to where the mind can't comprehend. Even what I'm saying now could be a completely different. There could be dimension fucking dickhead Tim over there going, multi fucking verse. I don't know about that, and there could be loads of them. And that's what kind of gets me, is the fact that every single choice that we make could have an infinite amount of possibilities, outcomes, solutions, and it gets kind of very deep in if you think about it too much, you actually can't think about it.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't.
Yeah.
But and it's, again, I spoke about it a little bit in my last show, and there's kind of a theory that you can put to it. I call it like blueprint theory, in which you can, if you've lived certain amounts of, lives and lived a fucked up life and done a whole different array of things and met all these different people, you can almost not guess what's going to happen, but put it to a probable scale. In terms of, if I get out of bed, when I got out of bed this morning, the probability of my son running at me and giving me a hug is about 98%.
Yeah.
He's probably going to come and run to me and give me a hug. But if there's some fucked up toy behind me or near my feet, he might run at me and get to that toy. And I could go downstairs and making a coffee might be successful. There's a certain amount of things that you can guess and interactions that you can guess. But the problem is, if you was to draw it out to a scale, it would be impossible to map, because you would have to base that upon 9 billion people's lifestyles, choices, expectations. But there's a little tiny thing that you can get a little bit of it, but only in what you know now. I can't guess about some movie producer in Hollywood, but I can guess about my neighbours because I've interacted with them for X amount of years. And again, if I go and put their bins out, what's the probability of them saying thank you?
Right.
Right. There's a huge amount of chance and probability, but it, like I say, it's just difficult to put out onto paper, because you'd need thousands of sheets of paper. But you could almost, if you can grasp the concept and just apply it, you can pretty much work it out. It's not difficult, because the media has also given you most of the blueprints for you.
Yeah, you got like the Matrix out there. You got like all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it makes you think about that.
again, same for Twitter and social media.
Oh
You look
yeah.
at enough of that, you can guess certain people's reactions to whatever they're going to say or whatever you're going to say. You can play the field with numbers in a way, but it's certain people buy into it, certain people don't. And people go, "Oh, you're not guessing the future." No, I'm not, but I'm guessing the chance of things.
Hmm.
What could happen?
See, I would add to that too, and like to say like you're saying like you can guess like what your neighbors or what your son will do, but maybe not like a producer you've never met. See, what I think when I say that like everything is one is so like there's certain decisions that we make, but behind those decisions there is circumstance. The fact that I was born in the United States determines some
Hmm.
things, and that doesn't I didn't make a choice about that. So what I think is that every single person, at least or every single conscious being, is really just you in different circumstance. And what's happening really, if you ever like read like Leibniz, he's like a idealistic monist. So he says that everything is happening within you. So if you're a
Yep.
conscious being, like you and I aren't really interacting. I mean, I know that there's like the Zoom and there's like things in between, but even beyond that, it's like we're not even interacting in that sense. I'm interacting with myself, and you are just a different instantiation of me. I'm a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
instantiation of you.
I've got again. There's another minor theory behind that because if you've totally just laid it out right there, in which we could all just be weird replicated versions of ourselves, living in some fucked up, not a simulation, but almost sort of semi-conscious point of being where we, not like the Matrix, but like a coma
Yeah,
in a way. It's kind of weird.
yeah.
So I think only certain people will ever get these vibes. This is why another reason why I do my podcast is to reach out to a lot of these people because you'd be surprised at how many people nowadays think that we are all interconnected, and we are literally interconnected.
And I feel like religions have been on like they've had the finger on that pulse for a long time, but and then you
Yeah,
get
it's all
people's
storytelling and manipulation and control. That's what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, but it comes down to like what you're saying, like about tales and stuff like that. Like it's just we're trying to spread it. People are trying to spread that, but in the end, it really is all just bullshit. Like everything, but then in the end, it isn't because it's you. So that's why you got to be kind to the people around you. That's what's super fucked up about simulation theory. What I really don't like about it is that someone will say like, "Oh, everything's a simulation," so I'm just going to go down the street and like shoot someone or do something really terrible. But that's totally counterintuitive if you think that that person is you, and maybe all of you collectively together with the universe and all are God. You definitely don't want to go around doing harm. You want
Here's
to do the opposite.
here's the fucked up side of it. You
Yeah.
say that, but imagine if again, you go down the street, you shoot someone. Well, and again, if he was shooting someone, and that maybe is a representation or some weird subconscious version of yourself, so to speak, and then you kill that side of yourself,
Yeah.
and then you go to jail, and then you feel like shit. Hmm.
And the rest of your human experience, it could have been badass. You could have been,
Hmm.
on the Key Islands, living it up or doing something, smoking weed and doing this podcast and hanging out. But instead, you're in prison now, and that was the universe you built for yourself with your choices.
That's all it is. Again, every conscious decision I make and you make, it all reverberates around the universe. It doesn't stop. It
Yeah,
doesn't stop at all.
yeah. Energy
It's
doesn't
scary.
die, it just transfers.
No, it's kind of scary. It's in a way, you know,
Yeah,
when you get really deep on it, because people will go, "Oh, scary? What the fuck you on about?" Yeah, but you don't really think too deep. You're probably sitting there watching too much EastEnders
uh-huh.
or Love Island. You might not know. You might not know EastEnders. So I shouldn't know.
I know Love
Apparently,
Island though for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Americans seem to love EastEnders at the minute, which is crazy.
What gets me with like the multiverse theory, or what like I'm trying to rack my head around now is like creative stuff. Like it's like a collection of choices, right? Like music's like a collection of choices, but then it's also instinct. I'm trying to wrap my maybe you can help me out with that. Like are you transferring dimensions? Are you building something? I don't even know.
Some people think that. I say some people. I'm not exactly the most fucking sanest man on the planet,
That's best though. Yeah.
but occasionally, when you have a bad day, you think, have I woke up in a different universe? Because shit was going right for 3 months. And I kept having these good nights of sleep, and then I had this weird fucked up dream, and then I woke up. And then since then, it was all weird. And it's almost like you've woke up in sort of like a very small, indifferent universe,
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of weird. There's a weird old theory as well about doorways, in which when you walk through a doorway, you're entering a different fucking universe.
Oh,
Like it's all like old symbolistic fucking shit, those.
but I like that. Like if you go to like I don't practice it personally, but I've studied a little bit of Santeria, and then if you like go into like they're based from the Yoruba religion, which is one of the oldest religions ever.
Santeria. We haven't spoke about that on the show.
You never spoke about Santeria, so you got
Well, a little bit.
okay.
With one of my regulars. Shout out to McLean again. From Southeast Africa. Hello, Noah. There's a running joke that she's from Malawi, and it's not quite classed as that fucking area. So, extremely funny person. So I always take the piss with that. 'Cause it's not classed as that. I always go, it's South Africa, isn't it? And it's like, no, it's East Africa. So I'm meeting in the middle of Southeast. But no, we spoke about a little bit of Santeria, but again, you said you spent some time in Mexico, so
Yes,
I could believe that. And I've been a weird fan of not a fan of it, but I've looked into it for about 12 years.
Okay. So
I'm a huge fan
What's that?
I'm a huge fan of like voodoo, superstitious shit. But I only know mainstream and a couple of little books that I've read and a couple of Somalians that I've met from way back when.
Oh, that's cool.
So what's your take?
Well, I've only read a little bit, and the truth is, I would be an outsider. So, because like having American parents who decided to go to Mexico is a different story than being having the connections, and to really be a good Santero, you have to have a godfather and a godmother who were in that religion. So anything I say is outsider.
Bring you in.
Yeah. But I don't know. So there's the I'm gonna mispronounce it. Alegua. He's the god of doorways, crossroads, and he's the one that people often attribute to being the crossroads demon, but I think that's inaccurate. But yeah, I don't know. If I study Santeria, I always end up right back just to him and studying him, because it's like that's it. Like everything you do, every choice you make, every door you go into, all of it accumulates to the world you're in. It has to, some way or another. So that'd be the end of my take, really. I guess I wish I knew more about Santeria to really explain some more about it. But I guess what's really fascinating about it is that it became popular during the slave trade is when it kind of emerged. And that is from the fact that people who believe in the Yoruba religion from Africa, they were, relocated and stolen, robbed, and everything. And they were forced to be Catholic. And they just kind of found a way to work around it and say, no, I can find my beliefs in yours. And I think that that's powerful as hell.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry, Karen.
You're good. No, you're good. I was just saying that, like, it's just that's where we should do more. I mean, if you're gonna stick to one strict religion, you gotta have to have an open mind about other ones, because or else you're not really that religious, because you're denying other people's faith in a weird way.
I mean, the guy I spoke to, he was a good friend. I used to work with him, Mohammed. He was a devout Muslim. But he also came from a very fucking brutal, strange background. Again, coming out of Somalia. And it was, again, I worked with him. Fuck, my ashtray set itself on fire. Hold on a minute. But But no, I was working with him when I was like 17, 18. When I first met him, was when I was literally, in fact, it might have been a little bit later. I think I was about 19. Um, and I had fucked up views of the world, and I was uncultured was the best way. And then I worked at like a Walker's crisp factory. And I was working with him and a couple of other guys, and like was on the same line, and we'd just chat some shit. And then they'd go and have their own little fucking table in like the break room, and like obviously they would talk their native fucking tongue and whatever. And to be honest, I was a bit of an introvert, but obviously when we was on the line, it was all cool. And I'd just go and sit down there at the fucking table, and then obviously they sort of half invited me in, and I'm a very curious person, and I asked them, a fucking hell of a lot of stuff. Again, I've learned a lot about the Quran from my fucking friend Mohammed. Um, again, I don't. When people leave school, they fucking stop education. I chose to just get into everything. And he was talking about Santeria. It took a little bit of time, but over the weeks they was talking about some of the fucking crazy rituals. I'm not going to get into that on air. I'll save that for dead air. But there's some very brutal stuff, but there was also some really crazy, interesting stuff, just from superstitious perspectives. There was some, especially when it comes to like sort of voodoo and like, what people would call like witch doctors and stuff like that. There was some really, really fucking cool stories, but some of them were fucking graphic as fuck. But it was just so interesting that that it just opened my eyes up in a weird way, and I was like, fuck, especially considering that the UK is a somewhat allegedly racist country, because of the British Empire. Fuck the British Empire.
Right, yeah.
But this was again during like we're only just about in the last fucking 5 years accepting a hell of a lot of stuff.
Right.
I've got a hell of a lot of friends that don't. Right. Some of my own relatives don't. But it opened my eyes up to a fucking world of just something that wasn't some shitty little council estate and people's crappy life issues. But Santeria is a. And do you know what got me into Santeria? The song by Sublime.
Yeah, no,
I heard.
Song slaps though. That's a really good song. I don't know, but
it's crazy. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much this show.
You're good. No, you're good. Yeah, this is my first podcast, like I said, and I actually really like to listen to people. So I hope you don't mind. I'm trying to get you to talk more.
No, it's all cool, man.
Cool.
Again, see this as a practice run, because this is all it is. This is all I do is I'll just talk shit, and that's all it is.
That's a cool horn, by the way. Very cool. Very
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's starting to make more appearances on the show.
Nice. But you have to put on the video so that people can see it.
I will. I'm a huge fan of bullshit trinkets.
Yeah.
I've got a I haven't even put it up yet. I've got excuse me. I've got a do you know when they put X-rays onto that light screen? Well, I have one of those screens. I also am a huge fan of urban exploring. And years ago, I went treasure troving through an old abandoned hospital, and I had about 3,000 X-rays ranging from the 1970s to when the place closed down in the 90s. I had to bin some of them. I had so many. Like, I was living with my folks at the time. My mum was like, "Why'd you keep bringing all this tat and shit home?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? These are fucking look at that fucking spine and that skull. You see that leg that's all bolted together? Look at that shit." But I went back and took the machine. But that's going to be an addition to my studio. Is that fucking thing? I'm going to put it over this side,
I can
and
see
then
it.
every so often, I'm just going to whack one up like a fucking skull or a fucking. I've got loads. I had to get rid of some, but I've got like a full body. I've got loads of heftily bolted up fucking. I sold some of them to tattoo studios because it was around that time when tattoo studios were getting really big, and I was like, huh, this would be cool to see him because I've got tons of tattoos. I was like, it'd be cool to have this sort of shit when you're getting a tattoo done. Fits the vibe.
Yeah.
So I convinced a friend to buy most of them.
That's cool. But now you don't have them. Now you're gonna have to start collecting again so you can swap them on.
No, I've still got some,
Okay.
and I've still got a machine. I'm just yet to put it up because it's so fucking bright as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I was looking at your tattoos. I mean, I could see a couple of them. I feel like I can't see most of them because you got your hat on and stuff, but that's badass.
Oh, I've got
Brow, yeah.
I've got there. I've got one there. I've got all around my head.
Oh, does it go all the way around?
Oh yeah, it goes all the way around from there down my neck, around there. I've got this arm done, a couple on my legs. I've got like split open sort of wound on my shoulder that looks like it's all stapled together. And then my neck is a zombified Ted Bundy bite.
Okay.
So I took a picture, like a life-size Ted Bundy thing,
Uh-huh.
like of one of his victims, and then I sort of got my tattoo artist to zombify the shit out of it.
All right.
And it looks even better because during the process, I accidentally scraped a bit of it off, and it almost made it look even better.
I didn't know you could scrape tattoos off. I'm new to the tattoo world. First tattoo I ever got is the only one I have so far. And that was when my friends and I did shrooms in Joshua Tree, and the next day we are just like, "Hey, you guys want to get tattooed?" And we're like, "Yeah." That was my first tattoo, but I didn't know they scratched off. That sucks.
Yeah, it scabbed up. That was the problem. It got too scabby, and then it formed a real scab, and I was like scratching, and well, you know what it's kind of like when you get a scab, and then you scratch it by accident, and then you've got this little fucking tiny flap of skin, and you're like, oh man, I'm not gonna leave that there. I can't because it's fucking annoying me. So I just ripped it off, and then I was like, oops. It's believe me, it's nothing. One of my friends is I've been trying to get him to be a guest on the show for a while because it'll be he lives around the corner from me, so he'll be a live guest. But he's one of the most controversial people I know. He's a German Sikh, so he's got the best of both worlds. For a start, he's a fucking Nazi and he's an Indian. Okay? So I don't give a fuck who's listening to this. This is one of my best friends. He doesn't find it insulting whatsoever.
Sure.
So, for those out there, fuck you. But he's about 6 years older than me. But his views on the world are amazing. They are so down the razor line that he is skating thin ice all the time, but is so funny, and he has no filter whatsoever.
Gotta love people like that who just say what they're just
like none.
Consciousness is out there. I love that. I love that.
I want him to be my co-host, but he's too busy fucking driving buses. Like,
come on.
Yeah.
No one needs to ride the bus. Just stay at home and podcast, man.
No, he's driving them. He drives kids around, which is even more crazier. He does like school runs with kids. Which is crazy. This is a true story. I said, how do you deal with the shitty kids on your bus? Because there's always that one kid who's gonna fucking challenge you. And he was like, well, I'll just stop the bus. And I said, listen, I'm not going nowhere until all you kids sort that guy out. And obviously all those kids wanted to fucking go home.
Yeah.
Turned on the dickhead.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm sure the next day in school that ripple went even further, you know?
Oh, everyone says now thank you to their bus driver as they're leaving, you know?
Dude, but it was a baller move to take the school bully, make him look a prick,
Yeah.
and then everyone fucking turn on him.
Oh yeah.
My God, it is one of the most productive, like, geez, I can't even get the fucking words to say how great it is. It's so powerful, you know. He didn't have to do fuck all but stop his bus and go, "Hey, you want to go home? You can deal with it." And next thing, 5 minutes later, the wheels on the bus go round and round. You know,
Yeah.
fucking
Now we're all in a better universe because of it. You know, maybe that bully goes on to
yeah.
be a doctor or something like that. And now we're all in a slightly better universe just because someone dealt with some shit, you know?
But that's what it is. Sometimes people need kicking in the fucking
Oh,
arse, you know.
like definitely. Yeah.
And 50 kids on a bus who want to go home. Listen, that bully might have had the rule in the school, but when 50 people want to go home, that bully is not going to fucking challenge a whole bus of people. It's not going to happen. This is what I love about bullies is occasionally there's moments where they get challenged in a way that they can't even deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. What the fuck are you going to do? Beat all 50 of them up? No, never. It's not going to happen. The only way that's going to happen is if you're Mike Tyson. You know? That's the only way that's going to fly.
Yeah. Not even, man. Not even. You can't take something.
No, maybe even then. Maybe even then.
Bodies being thrown at
Yeah.
you.
Some of them might fucking whip pencils out and jab you in the fucking shins like some Children of the Corn shit, you know?
That'd be fucking scary. That'd be fucking scary.
That's one of my biggest fears, you know, going to a village somewhere and all the kids are, there's no parents and all the kids are fucked up. And you're like, hey, I just want a beer. why are you staring at me with those creepy eyes?
Yeah.
You know?
No, man.
I'm just trying to fill up.
Terrifying. Children are terrifying for sure. For sure. Yeah. How old's your kid? Don't mind me asking. If that's not, if you don't want that on the public air, that's okay.
So again?
How old is your child? Son?
I was 2.
2? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Terrible twos.
I have two children.
Oh.
One's 2, and I have a little girl that's 3. She lives up north with her mother. I've tried reaching out to her for numerous years. She cut me off, and then accused me of the world, and I was like, okay, I'll accept responsibility. Just let me see my kid.
Yeah.
Basically made myself look a prick, just to try and, you know, not just be a nice guy, but just go, hey, no, actually it wasn't your fault. Was. But, you know, just genuinely overstepping, trying to be nice. Got shut down, and, well, I recently got a message, but it's been blanked. I've had to lately make an executive decision to not introduce a whole mess of bullshit in my life.
Yeah.
It's there'll be a moment, but I personally think that she's only reaching out now because I've got a fucking podcast.
Oh, she's starting reaching out now. That's bullshit. Yeah.
Well, my son and daughter have the same monthly birthday, so they're both born in the same month.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's coincidental, who knows? But you know, when someone's last words are, "You're not going to hear from me for 7 years," whatever, I think it was about that, essentially in her words. And I'm like, okay, I've tried for 3.5.
Yeah.
Maybe about 4. You know, I'm wit's end. I've kind of got shit to do. Sorry, love, but you know, you had a bit of priority time, and you can't have it now. You know, and especially when it's fucking up my own relationship here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's for those out there that have weird fucked up situations and they want to see their kids and they have a fucked up ex. Just cut some ties, just for a little bit of time. It'll be difficult. You'll have to grieve, but one day it'll pay off tenfold because you'll be a better person. You'll be a way better person to society than what you would ever be dealing with a bullshit person who can be consistently dragging you down and negative. People don't need that.
No, for sure. I mean, like my parents, they were divorced like kind of later on. I wish they divorced earlier. They divorced way later on, and then it was like this weird thing where now, like we got to be in me and my siblings. We got to be in both of their lives, so they have to be in each other's lives, and they never got that break. I just wish they had taken it. So yeah, folks out there listening, definitely just cut ties for a little bit, take a breather.
Well,
you know.
I mean, again, my folks divorced when I was, well, there was very rocky for several years.
Yeah.
My parents don't really listen to my podcast, so I can talk about it. Maybe I'll know when they call me up upon this bullshit. I know they're listening. But again, I was the youngest child. I've got two older sisters, from the same sort of parents. I've got two younger half brothers. But my dad was he was a kind of self-made man, and he was the UK's biggest supplier manufacturer of gym equipment. There was a lot of machines that he's designed, like physically, but he's also like a mountain climber, and he does a lot of shit. He was a busy guy, and he was away a lot, you know. And at some point, I guess my mum kind of felt a bit neglected. I know that she cheated, but I can't say about my dad. I would assume that he might have done, being in a different country for 3 months. You know,
Yeah.
just as a man, if it was me, and I'm very much like my dad,
Uh-huh.
we talk to the point we sound the same on the phone.
Yeah.
Like family members are like, "Is this you, Kev?" And I'm like, "No, it's Tim." You know, like that's how bad it is. We look the same. We've got the same fucking nose, same features, same voice. But if I was him and I was away for 3 months, I know what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Selfishly.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he did or not, I don't know. But obviously their marriage broke down, and he used to go away on expeditions to like Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan and you know, a lot of fucking Himalayas and shit. And you know, there was a lot of fuckery involved, and they eventually divorced.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I wished I would have been younger, because at this point I was probably maybe 10, 11 ish,
Mm-hmm.
maybe just going into secondary school, you know, just where you've got some sort of not grasp upon life, but you know, you're not fucking running around playing with toy cars all day. You sort of like, this interests me. I like this. Science, okay, you know.
At least
And,
you think you have it, you know, like you think you've got it figured out by that point.
Yeah, you're on the first step.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Up until you're like the teenagers, you're just a little amoeba. You're not doing fuck all. You just you're learning how to talk and walk around without falling on your fucking face.
Yeah.
Up until you get to secondary school. You get to secondary school, and then you're like, okay, I'm on the first step. Socially, you're getting to navigate your way through the world, but for when you're going through divorce, and that's when empathy becomes a friend. And I don't mean even a good friend. I mean a friend that you'd sort of go, my parents are splitting up. Wait, what? And it's all you've ever known. It is crazy, because, again, I'm a child of divorce. You're a child of divorce. There's probably at least, 9 billion people on the planet? How many of them are fucking children of divorce? You know?
Yeah. More like at least like
at least 3 billion. At least 3 billion. It's got to be. It's got to be at least a fucking third. Yeah. At least. But what does that say about people and their commitment for things? You know?
I mean, I know what my dad would say. He's a good guy, but he'd just be like, "Man, sanctity of marriage is just going downhill." That's just, he doesn't really talk like that, but that's how he sounds in my head.
That was a great fucking accent. I was gonna say, it sounds like your fucking dad's from the South.
He's not. He's totally not. He's a Californian born and bred. Yeah, he's not from the South.
It's like he's from fucking sort of Texas or fucking somewhere like, you know.
He watches too much Fox News, so that counts for something. But
Okay.
yeah, whatever.
But no, sorry, we get back to the breaking down episode because that was a long show.
Yeah.
And it's very often people talk about personal things, you know, and this is another one of those shows. So this is your very first podcast. So my fucking hat to you, sir. Again, you know, oh, look at that shit. Got your own fucking, what are you drinking? Is it pop? I hope it isn't fucking juice.
Not juice.
Nah, again, I'm drinking out of curved fucking horns, you know.
You know, you caught me at a strange time. I probably would have smoked right now. I just started a tea break. So I'm gonna chill on that for a little bit. But by the next time, you said July. Did you say July 25th? It's like the next, you had a big thing coming up. By that one, I definitely.
Oh no, I've not. No, I've not really got a date for the big events.
Okay. That's secret, right? Yeah, you'll have to kill me. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, if you want to cut loose, my friend, that is absolutely fucking fine. We're on like an hour 45. You know, that's absolutely cool. It's been a fucking great show. Just hold on. What the fuck are you saying? Just bear with me 2 seconds because this is going to be a new fucking thing that I'm trying to incorporate into the show.
All right.
My last fucking show, we closed out with a bang.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get rid of my shitty intro outro and close off every fucking single episode with a new act. You know, a new musical act. It's but manipulating that through a conversation and then trying to bring them in is a tricky thing. So I've sent a Zoom link to, again, it was last night's guest because he closed the show last night and is hopefully going to fucking close it again tonight because I did say I was going to fucking message him 5 minutes prior, but I didn't do that. But it's going to be a new segment. But again, I'd like you to be a regular. Cheyenne Lou, is that your partner's name? Did I guess it right?
Yeah, that's how you.
That was bang on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see,
no,
I can't guess English names, but fucking French names, boom! Look at that.
You got it. No, man. Absolutely. Would absolutely love to be back again. Would like to turn loose again another time. If I, when I start my podcast, you will be my first guest. That's a promise. It's a guarantee. But I have a question for you while we're waiting for your buddy to get back to you. What does post mean to you? I gotta know. I gotta know that.
Second time. You're the second guest to ask that.
Okay, sweet. I'm sorry if I should have listened.
No, it's cool. No, it's all good. I'm glad you did ask because there's very few people that do. So the first reason is because I think we're in a sort of post-humanistic world. Mm-hmm. You know, within my lifetime, we're going to be uploaded to the fucking cloud, essentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Either that or by the time it comes to the world being destroyed by ourselves, I'm going to bury this shit in a time capsule, fuck it in the ground, and that's why it's the post-human podcast. Because we're not going to be here. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Post-human, actually.
Yeah. So there's
for the dolphin
I used
people.
The dolphin people.
Yeah, they're probably next, right? I don't know who's up next, but it should be someone else after the humans. I mean, it could be lizard people. I don't know if they've been around. They might take over. I don't know if there are actually dolphin people, but I imagine
I was going to say
the next species is going to take over. It won't be us.
The dolphin people's a new one. I might have to create some fake news about that.
Yeah. We should just start making up. We should just start talking about the dolphin people. Make it a see if conspiracy theories actually hold water.
Hold water.
That was not intentional, but damn it, that was something.
It was a good pun. So if you was to do a show, what would you base it around?
I'd base it on See, that's the thing. That's where I get stuck. Is like I'd like to base it on multiverse, but I don't know how deep that well is. You know?
Yeah, it's again, it's a niche category.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I would do?
Listening.
I'd stick to authors because again, you're a good writer.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
so do you know what I would do? And I've said this to a ton of people about specific categories. Some people have clocked it and ran with it. Some people have just gone, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I told you, you just want to do this." What I would do is I would review a book every week. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now, what I would do though in doing so is I would plan out your next year.